I get a little ring in my ear, Lars, when the recording starts. So this is like the symbol for me that we're ready to go.
Okay.
So I know we've been chatting, but good morning,
Morning.
and welcome to Lockdown Sessions podcast.
Thank you.
So I want to introduce you to all the listeners. I don't know how many are downloading this, but Lars Adolfson, who you're working out of Spain. And you operate as an independent consultant, trainer, and executive coach. Have I missed anything there?
No, that's absolutely right.
So look, Lars, thank you for joining us. And I guess the real purpose of these lockdown sessions is an opportunity for us to kind of riff and talk about our learnings and our observations, whether personally or from a work environment during lockdown. And something I know that I had noticed in recent weeks was something that I picked up when I was out with one of my dogs. So we're out in the sunshine and it's late in the day. I've been working during the day and I'm throwing the ball for him, but it's quite warm outside. And he's long-haired. And he comes and he sits down next to me on the grass and he's got the ball in his mouth. And Lars, he just sat there for like 40 minutes with the wind coming in his face and the ball in his mouth. And as I looked at him, he just looked like he was smiling. And I thought to myself, maybe one of my biggest learnings over this lockdown period has been to really enjoy the simple things during this really difficult time. Like a dog, like learn from the dog. Just a tennis ball, the sunshine, a nice breeze, and he's so happy. He's like in heaven. And so this got me thinking about, a lot of our clients are challenged by what's going on right now. Business is slowing down. New business is definitely slowing down. So pipeline is okay, but the new business, the future is not. And I was wondering, you work in that environment where you're training organizations, training their sales teams up to go out and do this business development. I wonder what you'd observed from your own client base right now that maybe could be useful learnings for people listening to this. What are you seeing with your clients? How are they coping with this lockdown?
Yes, it's a very good question, Brad. As I do see is that most people at this point are in sort of a waiting mode. They're sort of adjusting to what's really going on outside. They're looking into their environments. They're looking into their staff. They're trying to maintain a little bit what they have while they're waiting for this situation to pass, or some more news are coming in regarding the situation. Thankfully, we have sort of moved in a positive direction lately, because Spain was a market that has been very affected by the COVID situation, with a lot of death. However, it seems it has stabilized. The Spanish government did a great job of securing it. And I do see that there are some positive movements again in the business side. And it's looking quite promising for after the summer again. People are starting to gain a little bit of trust to the situation. And they're trying to position them again to what's going to happen. How are we going to change our company? What expansion possibilities are once this is settling down. So after a period of a little bit of fear, uncertainty and nervousness, it looks like we are going slowly in the right direction again, I think.
Do you think that people from a training point of view, then they're going to want training? Are they just going to need to survive this period? What are you kind of, when you're talking to people, what are they saying?
I think definitely people will want to have some training, because it has been a new situation for most of us, to all of a sudden working from home, conducting a lot of things online. But I do think moving forward that people will have to get some sort of training to find inspiration, because maybe in a new situation we will see a combination of 50% work from home and 50% work from the office in order to reduce the spread. And in order to maintain the social distancing in our society. So I do think that people want to have training. It can be some self-motivation. It can be, how do I cope with this? It can be, for some people, it can be a challenge. For other people, it will just be great. But I do think that people want to move forward and train. Maybe a lot of people have not been used to having to motivate themselves. And they will need some help and assistance in that matter.
On that point, because I find that really interesting as well, how do you get people to do that self-motivation piece when actually life feels quite hard, especially for people in sales, right? They live on motivation, they live on their sales cycle. And for companies where the sales cycle is quite long, I'm thinking to myself, wow, if I was a sales guy and for the last 3 or 4 months, I've not been able to go and see any of my customers, my motivation is going to be right at the bottom of the pit. Like, if you were working with my team right now who are suffering, how would you help them? What would you be saying they need to be thinking about? Maybe there's some tips or techniques to kind of develop.
There's certainly some techniques. It can be a little bit hard to make that in a short statement. There's certainly some techniques where you can focus on certain aspect of your life that you associate with something really comfortable and really good. Because our brain often has the tendency to go into a mode that is a bit negative, especially when we don't feel passionate about what we do. To be able to feel passionate about something, we need to have some form of purpose. And at the moment, this purpose can maybe be stuck a little bit of uncertainty and we don't know what to do. So many things, it is to shift your focus from an undesired state where many people find themselves right now, until a more desired state where we actually want to be. And it's a drill, it's a training that you can convince your brain to do. And you can take those elements from the new desired state and you can apply them in the current state where you are, which will make you feel better and more acceptant about the situation where we are at the moment.
Do you think it is that? Do you think we have to kind of accept, first of all, what is, and then focus on how to make that better by not necessarily looking forward, but being present and dealing with the present?
Yes, I think that's a very good one, because most of us are either going from the past or we are going to the future in our brain. And the past, it's something, obviously everybody's heard this before, the past is the past. We can't really do anything about it. We can accept it. We can accept the fact that our life has been what it is and we can't change it. Going to the future, it will cause, for many at least, it will cause a lot of anxiety, thinking about the future all the time, what's going to happen, trying to control, trying to predict where we are going. It's really, really difficult because none of us actually knew this COVID-19 was coming in and played such a big factor as it has been played. So we sort of have to deal with the present moment all the time, and we have to find some comfort and some peace in the moment where we are and just enjoy it. And personally, obviously, I have also seen that I have to freeze some of my activities, especially live training. Some consultancy assignment has been postponed, which I think is normal. But personally, I've found peace in working in some other projects that I have going on. I'm writing a book at the moment. I'm working on some of my online training seminars, which is also a challenge for me. But it's something that I'm also trying to find peace with and say, this is going to be part of our new future.
Right. They say, don't they, everyone has a book inside them, one good book.
Yeah.
I haven't found what that good book is inside me, so I'm delighted to hear you're writing one. And also, I guess that living in a country where you've got beautiful blue sky and sunshine every day probably helps when you get up in the morning, right?
Well, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. I'm very pleased about living here. I've been living here for 12 years in total, and I've found my peace. I've been a bit around. I've been living in America as well. I'm living in Norway and Denmark. but I have found always my peace here in Spain. It sort of represents a little bit who I am. I have have very good friends here. The lifestyle it suits me very well, and you have, yes, sunshine pretty much 320 days a year.
So tell me, right, if we go back to this point of, you know, we work with leaders a lot of the time. What are you noticing in the behavior of leaders right now? Have you seen a shift?
Well, I've seen actually a shift a long time ago when it comes to leaders. It's a very good question, this one. I do feel at the moment that leaders also have some nervousness in this period, because obviously it's also new to them, and many maybe don't quite know how to handle this at the moment. And this is also something that I see is going to be important for the training and the performance program that we offer. How actually to deal with your staff and with yourself in a situation like this, because I think generally people at the moment are very indecisive to what to do. They're doing a lot of waiting. They're not setting sails and moving forward at the moment as they're supposed to do, really. They're waiting and see what happens, and they are nervous. They do change their mind quite a lot, I think.
However, historically, when training and working with leaders, we always say, you know, the most important thing is vision, is purpose, is to offer direction to your team, to show them what could be possible. How do you get that kind of momentum as a leader, do you think? How can we help leaders maybe unpick that uncertainty and help them? Because it seems to me, when I'm listening to you, that what you're observing is that leaders are a little bit stuck.
I feel so, yeah. It feels that it's coming to this point where they're finding themselves with some restrictions within themselves on where to go. So they possibly have some ideas, but they're having restrictions because they don't really know how to react. Where we can help them actually is to maybe to understand what those restrictions are, what it is exactly that they're feeling, the uncertainty that goes through themselves, and put it into words instead of maybe just feelings at the moment. And getting these things out from your system can maybe help you to find the direction that you have to take in this point.
So almost become a reflective mirror for them, to help maybe show them what we're hearing them say?
I think so, because one thing is that you are maybe stuck with some thoughts or some feelings inside you, but having the perspective of what other people are observing with you could maybe help you actually to understand a bigger picture of what's really going on.
Do you feel that this is a moment in time? When you look forward, is this changing this side of 2020, or are we looking really at 2021 before business really steps back into the game?
No, I think my feeling of this is that we will start seeing quite a lot of movement from September again. It's just an estimate. I can obviously not predict it, but my own feeling, my own estimation is that as soon as we pass the summer, I do think that people are start working into the fourth quarter of how to establish themselves. I do think they want to have help getting to where they want. I think they do want to have other perspectives of the current situation. What is other people seeing? And as I see from the fourth quarter and going into 2021, I think it's going to be a very, very busy year for most, because this is where most people will actually lose turnover. Most companies will lose turnover this year. Next year, obviously, it should increase a lot to compensate to what people have lost now. And I think it's a normal progression at the moment. We have to sort of get on with it, whereas next year we have to be prepared for, again, a growth and to recover a little bit what has been happening this year.
Yeah, I hear you. Although when I hear that word turnover, I'm always reminded of one of my first mentors in business nearly 30 years ago. And he said to me in one of our first conversations, you know, Brad, turnover, it's just vanity.
Mhm.
Profit, that's your sanity.
That is true.
But I can see organizations, obviously, you know, they struggle with turnover, with business profit, with margin.
Both, probably, both turnover and profit, yeah.
So you've talked a little bit about trying to tap into that motivation piece, that the motivation has dipped. You've talked a little bit about how leaders are almost stuck. We need to help them get unstuck. Is there a third observation that maybe we could be looking at where we should be focusing our attention, maybe as leaders, in how we deal with our people? Like, what could I be doing to get my sales team motivated to come back into work? What could I do to make my virtual remote team feel inspired and passionate about not being able to see their customers? Like, what could I be doing as a sales leader that helps the team tap into things again?
Yeah, I do think at the moment it's very, very important to build strong relationship with your existing base of clients that you're working on, regardless what sector you're working in. I think maintaining a relationship and build a strong relationship with your clients in this period is really what's going to help you move forward once restrictions are eased and once we are able to get out there again. So relation building is extremely important in this period, I think, and try to nurture about your clients without any expectations really, but just be there for them. Listen to what they say and try to understand what's really going on in their business as well. I think it will come back to you at a later stage that you have actually been there through some difficult times. So I think actually promoting yourself a little bit in this period by being active around your clientele. And even though you cannot come out and visit them, but there are still these great technology solutions with Zoom, with Skype, whatever platform you're using, to communicate actively with your clients and take part in their business and their development as well.
I suppose it gives us, doesn't it, an opportunity to invest time in the relationship.
I think basically that's it. Invest time in a relationship, invest time in yourself, find out really what triggers you, what do you want to do, how do you want to see your life going forward. Is this, I think this is actually a very good opportunity to do some self-search and figuring out what really excites you and how can you improve going forward. I think always when we settle down a little bit, like we had to do now, we get more time to think inwards, and many times new ideas come up, maybe doing the same job but in a different way, new approaches. So I think this time is really important about inner soul searching, what it is that really we want to do. And the secondly is to nurture our business, our clients, be there for them and listen to what they're going through and try to help them and guide them as good as we can.
So a bit of coaching outward and also a bit of like internal self-coaching.
Absolutely.
What do you think will be the key lessons businesses will learn about themselves when we reflect back maybe in 6 months' time or 12 months' time on this COVID period?
Well, I think for a lot of companies, I think hopefully the thing about being close together about something will come out of it, because many times we are so stuck in our normal life that we are sort of going into daydreaming and we maybe are not present very much. We just do everything on a routinely basis. But I think maybe this COVID thing has taught us more than anything about being present, actually looking into every aspect of our business, not just the growth, the profit. Obviously, we need that, but also to look into the human side of it and actually take good care of the team that we have, take better care of ourselves, communicate better with our clients. I do think that this is maybe a wake-up call for many people, and start looking after ourselves and our friends, our life, our company, whatever it is.
There is something in that, isn't there? That idea of becoming almost a human organization, really, sort of to make sure that people feel that value. Because I was talking with someone the other day on an episode about psychological safety and that need to really create a space where people feel comfortable to share.
Yeah.
And maybe leaders need to also be comfortable sharing their vulnerability in this moment, because I don't think everybody wakes up every day and is really in a great space.
No.
It's challenging, and I wonder, how do you tap into that balance of kind of passions and talents and keep that running alongside that drive to keep moving forward? What are you doing to create that environment for yourself?
For myself, I always try to use the word balance. For me, everything in life is about to be balanced. You need to have a certain certainty of balance, of fun and work. You have to have some sort of habits that you go out with your friends, but you also need to be doing exercise. So everything in life for me is sort of a balance. So if we just focus on one area, we will definitely lose something in another end. However, if we are balanced, we will grow personally and as a company possibly more organically. And I think that's a more healthy way of dealing with it. So balance is a very key word for me in this case, that not too much of something and too little of another, but try to balance things out.
And when you look forward over the next few months, what keeps you up at night when you think about the next 3 months?
Well, I just have to look outside the window. That helps a lot, obviously. But no, it keeps me up because I'm absolutely motivated what I'm doing. I've been doing it for quite some time. And I sort of have a clear vision that this will pass. Companies will be reaching out. And my motivation is just I'm enjoyer of life. So I love life, no matter if there is companies asking me for service or if I have to sort of get on with it myself.
And if you could give some advice to leaders listening to this, who are struggling with their sales teams and they're struggling with motivation, and maybe they're struggling with revenues and the pipeline doesn't look great and business development has come to a standstill, how would you inspire them to have that similar attitude, have that joy of life that you talk about?
I think it's about finding some inner peace, first of all, in yourself, accepting the situation as it is, even though it's not, because I think there's very little, quite frankly, at the moment, I don't think there's much that you can actually do to force something to happen right now. I think, as we said before, it is to find that inner peace in yourself and try to balance your life out and say, this is not only work, there's also a personal aspect of it that's important. I want to take care of my staff. I want to take care of myself. I want to do the best I can for my clients. And once things sort of opens again, I think that's the time really to come up with a new strategy of how to increase your revenue, to increase your profit. But I think at the moment it's basically just to slow down, enjoy the moment, enjoy the time we have with our families and friends, enjoy the time with yourself. And then when things slowly are getting back to where it is, I think we will be ready to deal with it there again.
I like what you say there a lot, because for me, what you're really saying, if I unpick it a little bit, is leaders need to kind of lead by example a little bit here. We need to model the way. If we've got a team that are struggling, we need to show them how we're coping. We need to be in touch with them, make it personal, spend time with our families, not be work, work, work. I think the value of a great leader right now will pay dividends when we do come back.
Absolutely.
Whatever this new normal that everybody's talking about is going to look like.
Yes.
Although I don't like using the phrase, I don't like using new normal or unprecedented.
No.
That seems to be another word everybody's using. But this new normal, I'm going to use it again. This new normal seems to me to be asking a question of leaders. And it's asking the question, how do you lead? And if you don't lead yourself, you shouldn't be leading others. And maybe that's kind of the lesson I'm picking up from some of your comments here.
Yeah, I think it's right. And it is most important, as we talked about, just to look inwards and see, how do I actually feel what it is that's going on, and try to deal with it in a good way, and try, as you say, set an example for other people in this way, and accept how it is, slow down a bit, enjoy it. It doesn't happen often in your life. You get a bit of chance to actually just slow down and be with your loved ones.
We seem to almost have come full circle. We started the conversation today looking at, how we need to sort of take stock, be in the moment and be present, and kind of we've come back to, actually, you don't get many opportunities to do this. So actually reframe the negativity with a positive.
With a positive on it, yeah.
Right?
That's absolutely right, because it's not happening much in life. Our life is pretty much set with work, and it takes up a lot of our time. So this is actually a moment just to chill and enjoy it.
I think we might make that the title of the episode. Take a moment to chill and enjoy it.
Good.
Lars, I think we've reached a natural pause point. That was brilliant. We should do it again in a couple of months' time when things start to go back to normal.
Yeah.
We'll come together again and let's see if our predictions were right.
Let's try to go there.
All right, I'm going to push stop on the record button.
All right.